I'm feeling a bit of nostalgia today, I think. When I was a kid, the first game I actually ever played was this game right here called Pac-Man World. I technically wasn't allowed to play it. I was about 2 at the time apparently, but I apparently used to sneak in playing the game all the time whenever my grandparents would be out of the room, and I'd just start playing. This game's 19 years old, and maybe it shows, but hey, I'm really excited to play this, so let's give it a go. Well, screw it. Okay, there's no sound, but that's okay. What? What? Okay, so the game has a couple problems that are apparent. In this recording, I couldn't get any sound, it couldn't read the memory card, even though there's one in the system. Some graphical issues, and you know, for a 19-year-old game, yeah, it's pretty impressive, that's all that's wrong with it, but other times there's stages that won't load. It's sad, but you know, for something 19 years old, it's not gonna last forever. I really want to play it just how I remember it. Actually, there is a version of this game on the PlayStation Store. And actually, you know, for this video I decided to go for the PlayStation Store version and see if I could get it there. It was actually really simple. All it took was checking the PlayStation Store on my PS4 to find it wasn't there, and being confused why before searching on Google and realised it wasn't letting me view the game at my UK account, so therefore creating a US account to let me view the game, buying the game from my PC, linking my PS4 with this new account created by this US only release, only for it not to be on the store, read the listing again and realise it only works with PS3 or PSP, while in self-pity, which this isn't actually related to the story, it's just part of my regular schedule, save it for a few moments for PS3, realise it isn't connected to my Wi-Fi in my office for some reason, so bring it into the living room, connect to my US account and download it there. This took 3 months. For the past 2 console generations, more so this current one, there's been a constant debate over which is better, physical games with their box display and glory, or digital games with their convenience as simple as selecting a game from a menu. But as I've just displayed in a very specific scenario which very few people fall under, both mediums have their disadvantages, but of course they also have a lot of advantages. And today, I'm hoping to find out which of the two is better. Okay, no real starting point here, so let's just start with physical games and what advantages they have. There's something so satisfying to me about just owning a game in your hands. The aesthetic of having a collection of several games just lined up on a shelf, or having a beautiful box art to admire, will always appeal to me more than simply selecting a game from a menu. Plus, if you're trying to find a game to play, personally I find it easier to look on the shelf, see something that I fancy playing, and then choose it that way. There's also the advantage of being able to buy pre-owned games, with several stores set up for this exact purpose. This means once they're done with, you can sell your game and get, well, not much, but at least something for it, and hey, that can go towards another game that you're actually going to play rather than something that maybe for you will just collect dust. It's something you can't do digitally, as some online stores don't even offer a refund after a set amount of time, so yeah, I'm going to give credit to physical games for that. I love playing pre-owned games. Much cheaper. Buying physical releases of games helps people who don't have rapid access to the internet. Maybe their download speed just isn't good enough for downloading games to their console. But for some games such as the Spyro Reignited trilogy, there isn't really an option. The disc only includes the first game, and the other 2 games have to be downloaded. It sort of makes the physical release almost redundant in a way. But with digital games, well, they're all there in your menu. As much as I've been slacking on it, you don't have to worry about forgetting a game that you desperately wanted to play with your friends, when that game was already in your console at all times. In fact, if you forget your console, you're the laughingstock of your friends, but, you know, there's apps on certain consoles like the PS4 which allow you to tag onto a main console and play it through there. It's hard to explain, but you can still download a game by setting like a PS4 as your main PS4 and then doing that. I did that to play Rocket League on a friend's PS4 who didn't have it. It was a good feature, yeah. Also, buying a game is just much simpler digitally. There's no doubt about that. Setting it up might be a bit more of a pain, but hey, I can browse the store, pick out a game, which may actually be on sale, buy it, let it download and play it without moving from my seat. And yeah, you can make the argument that I could go to an online store like Amazon or PlayAsia, but with those I'm wasting a minimum of 1 to 2 days, and if I wait too late to pre-order, I'm not going to be able to play a game on launch day. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, okay, I have a physical copy of a game, and that's cool for putting on my shelf, but what if I want to show the world just how much of a massive nerd I am, just how dedicated I am to a certain series? Limited editions are your friend. And this may be just a personal thing, but while you can buy collectors and limited editions digitally, they're just so much better physically. Life is Strange had 2 really good collector's editions, both containing a soundtrack, an art book, and a physical copy of the game, which just wasn't available before. Before the Storm also had these cute little figurines and vinyls, and I don't actually have a vinyl player, but sue me, this looked cool. I also got the Persona Endless Night collection. It came with the Persona 3 and 5 dancing games physically, Persona 4 digitally, and it came with an art book, so yeah, let's check it out. I mean, this art book's pretty neat. Now, just find the... Oh. I see, they're at the back of the book. I also got the Smash Ultimate Limited Edition because I knew I'd love the game since it was confirmed that Pac-Man was in it, and this is just a solid box. It's bigger than a Switch box itself, and the presentation is amazing. Now, the collection itself comes with the physical game, a GameCube controller, and the adapter for the Switch, but apparently it was marketed online with a steelbook, so a couple days later Amazon offered me a free steelbook saying it was marketed as having one, so I own this now. I don't know, I've never really found the appeal of steelbooks. They stick out too much from the other games in my collection, and some of them are destined to just stay empty with nothing in them. I have one for Bayonetta 1 and 2 on Switch, Smash Ultimate, and I personally prefer the original artwork because you go from beautiful hand-drawn art to Smudge City, and one for LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. Shut up, I like LEGO games. But if you buy a limited edition digitally, you get a theme, maybe? DLC? Sometimes a complimentary game, but it's rare, and yeah, I just prefer physical collector's editions. If I'm going to go all the way, I'm going to do something like that. Also, the Persona Q2 collector's bundle looks cute, and I want that dog to be mine. Going back to digital actually, one of my biggest problems is actually the need for a lot of storage space on your device that you want to download the game to, and this is a problem I ran into very quickly on my Switch. I tried going fully digitally with my Switch for a little while, considering I already had Mario Odyssey downloaded, and I thought like the nature of the Switch being portable, it would benefit a lot from download-only games. But unfortunately my Switch just filled up really quickly even after I bought an SD card, and I'm gonna have to buy another one at some stage because it's getting to the stage where updates can't download. And I've heard multiple people complain about the storage on their PS4s, which I personally haven't had much of an issue for, although I do have 1 terabyte to work with on that, but even so, there's some games taking up like 100 gig just by themselves. But if all your games are downloaded, they'll need storing somehow, and all games need storage, whether it be on a hard drive, a cloud, or on an actual disc. Man, going back to these stores now, they're really basic. The Wii U and 3DS eShops had some amazing music backdrops for browsing their stores, and actually I felt more incentive to browse because of this. And of course, the one everyone remembers, the Wii Shop channel. It's dead! This is actually a very big issue for some of these digital stores because they constantly have to keep the stores up. I guess in Nintendo's case it just wasn't profitable enough to leave the Wii Shop channel running, and with the Wii Shop channel's closure, this means that some games are only legally playable on their original consoles, such as Super Smash Bros. Or Pulseman, which was only originally released in Japan. This leads to some major sticking points when it comes to game preservation. Now, here I have a selection of games. I've got Persona 4 Arena, LEGO Rock Band, LEGO Dimensions, PES 2016, and FIFA 15. Now, judge these games how you will, but they all share something in common. They will, more likely than not, never be re-released, and will only be playable in this form. With PES and FIFA, these games are yearly releases with improvements made in each passing installment, making going back to the past game almost pointless. And yeah, sure, these games are criticised for being the same thing every single year with very minor additions, but some people may have memories of these games. I don't know, never been a big yearly release fan. Persona 4 Arena is an odd case here, as although the gameplay was enhanced so much in its sequel Ultimax, the game can no longer be purchased digitally, which means that the story, I don't know, it continues into Arena and then continues from that into Ultimax, so you're missing some of the plot, which is important in an RPG series. It's important to fans, like me. And while you could complain about this, it just makes sense from a business standpoint. I mean, Nintendo could sell Mario Kart DS again at a discounted price, or they could use some of its content in future installments at full price. Like, why would I go back and play TikTok Clock or Cheap Cheap Beach on a DS when I could boot up my Wii U and Mario Kart 8 and play them there? In fact, if I'm playing Mario Kart 8, I'll play the deluxe version on my Switch. People always want convenience, and the latest version is convenient, and big companies know this. Now, in terms of LEGO Rock Band and LEGO Dimensions, these are ironically the most likely to be re-released, and most in air quotes there, because it's almost impossible due to licensing. LEGO Rock Band had multiple artists work together on it to collect a song What have I written? Collect a song collection? What? LEGO Rock Band had multiple artists work on it to create a song collection, and I'm sure this wasn't cheap. LEGO Dimensions also features several different franchises such as Doctor Who owned by BBC, Sonic the Hedgehog owned by Sega, and The Simpsons, who I believe are owned by Fox and the Curiosity Company? At least according to this Wikipedia article. Now imagine getting all these licenses again for a re-release which may not sell well. It would never happen. And both of these games, additionally, also have unique gimmicks, with the portal in LEGO Dimensions and the instruments in LEGO Rock Band. So yeah, re-releasing these just isn't practical at all, unfortunately. Speaking of gimmicks, hey Wii U. Consoles like the DS, Wii and Wii U are innovative to be sure, but they're also unique, and sure, at the time that isn't a bad thing, and it sells units most of the time. But this means that getting these types of games that take advantage of the main gimmick to run on a new system isn't easy. Like, look at a PS2 controller and a PS4 controller or an Xbox One controller. Similar button number and layouts, so developers can easily port from one system to another. Nintendo made a stick and then a chunky DS. Nintendo Land springs to mind as having lots of games that take advantage of the gamepad, and hence makes it very awkward to port them over to something else. But smaller games like Super Mario 3D World also had a lot of unique and interesting stages that took advantage of the gamepad. Like, look at this level where you long jump into gongs, and the aesthetic of opening these Japanese designed doors, and For companies, it's hard to see why they should re-release games like this which may not sell well. Nintendo actually had a good idea of the Virtual Console, because even though that was only digitally, people were more than happy to just be able to play these games again at a price that they could just, come on. There is another option, an option so secretive I can't say it out loud without the Nintendo ninjas coming after me, so I'm gonna have to whisper it. It's emulation. Yeah, okay, emulation is bad. It doesn't profit the developers, it's frowned upon in every field that you can imagine, but how else am I going to play Smart Ball for the SNES? It was never even released in Europe. Companies don't want people to use emulators and yet deny a reasonable way of playing these games nowadays. Releasing these games on modern systems lets people play them with the likes of the Virtual Console, and this also builds interest in potential sequels. This is how I tried Fire Emblem for the first time, Drill Dozer, a game which wasn't originally released in Europe, and Jak and Daxter, which is just sitting on my PS4 because I've heard so much about the game and wanted to try it out. In fact, companies don't even make anything from pre-owned games, so they're making more of a profit from releasing them like this. Game preservation is important, as we learn from the games of the past, improving them for the future, and enjoy the occasional odd one here and there. This sounds nerdy or geeky, I guess, but think of your favourite movie or book. Now imagine if you had only a couple chances to view them, or if they were only ever released on VHS or in physical paperback. You wouldn't be able to experience them nearly as often, or maybe not at all if these got ruined. Many older films or books don't even get this treatment and are simply lost forever with no way to recreate them. And only the people at the time got to experience these. I suppose from this, it seems like digital is the better way to go forward, because there won't be any discs getting scratched and games be preserved in the best way possible. But the closure of the Wii Shop channel, and before this there was the removal of LEGO The Hobbit and LEGO Lord of the Rings on online stores, it shows that not really. Digitally you're buying the license to play these games, and sure, once they're downloaded they can't be taken off you. But if the store shuts down, you can never re-download them from the store. If they're not on your console, they're gone. For good. And I personally feel really passionate about game preservation. I may not care about every single video game in existence, but that's someone's hundreds of hours of development, artists' constant hard work, someone's childhood, and it hurts if they'd be forgotten to the sands of time like so many older media was. And I guess companies may highlight certain games from their consoles like Nintendo Selects or PlayStation Essentials, and yeah, these highlight these games at a lower price, which allows more people to experience them. There's also collections of games, and yeah, give me more of these. One price for multiple games, no matter what, you've got to say that's got to be a good deal somehow. You've got Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Bayonetta 1 and 2, these are all great deals with several great games, and it's easily accessible whether you choose physical or digital. In fact, my favourite collection has to be this Kingdom of Hearts thing, and it has 4 games, 2 movies for about £30. That sounds good to me. This script is 4 pages long, let's just finish this. I'm sure with how long I've been talking about physical editions and how much I've been slacking on digital games, you can gather I prefer physical games. In terms of preserving the past, having a larger collection, and I don't know, I just like the aesthetic. I like having these games, as they are in my hand. I own this cartridge. I don't have to worry about downloading from a store or running out of storage. But at the same time, I understand smaller games simply wouldn't exist without digital stores. Without online stores, games like Undertale, Celeste, or Gunman Clive just would never have caught the public eye. Online stores still have a way to go before they're perfect, but while I don't see them taking away physical games anytime soon, they definitely have their advantages in helping games preserve for the future, and just buying new games in general. Give us Virtual Console. So yeah, physical over digital, but honestly, I don't blame anyone for thinking the other way around. Anyway, I've spent enough time discussing whether I think I should go physically or digitally, and I think because of the problems I have with my physical disc, I'm going to need to go digitally with Pac-Man World, so let's give it a... I've spent enough time this video already, so I think next time I'll take a look at Pac-Man World. See you guys then.